gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the only board game review show with Retson. My name is Cody, and if you're like me, you like these games set in the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos. I love his blending of science fiction and horror in his stories, and I love board games that are able to capitalize on that. Now, as I understand it, all his stuff is public domain now, so this, kind of like these endless tidal wave of zombie games that we have here, we seem to be seeing a lot of Cthulhu games coming out. Now, most of these Cthulhu-esque type games deal with investigators, adventurers, trying to work very hard to prevent the end of the world, to prevent Cthulhu and the other elder gods from returning to take over Earth and destroy it. But what if they failed? That is the hypothesis behind Green Eye Games' brand new game, Cthulhu Wars.
From ancient Greek mythology to Roman lore as well, there's a creature kind of creepy, but he's got some sex appeal. He stands at 9'7" and you'll never hear him talk. He's only got one eye, but he really likes to rock. They say he burned the village down, so what if he did? Don't be so judgmental about the Cyclops kid. He's got a tiny temper and an itty-bitty fuse. If you're the one who lit it, then you're probably gonna lose. Mysterious and mighty with a really killer mind. Lives in a volcano making weapons for the gods. They say he ain't a baby, so what if he did? Don't be so judgmental about the Cyclops kid.
In Cthulhu Wars, 2 to 4 players are essentially going to take on the roles of these Cthulhu-esque monsters. Cthulhu and several other monsters whose names I won't attempt to butcher. Essentially, what's going to happen during the course of this game is you are going to battle. There can only be one supreme elder god on the earth, and so all of these monsters are going to fight each other in an attempt to control gates and win control of the earth. The game is played out over a series of phases. First of all, you have to determine the power that each player has. Now, the game starts out where you each have a gate on the board and 6 cultists. Now, cultists are very powerful because you're going to use them to bring gates into existence and to control gates. Also, you're going to gain 1 power point for every cultist you have on the board, and you're going to gain 2 power points for every gate you have on the board. Whoever has the most power, they will be the first player for that turn. If you're playing with Cthulhu and it's a tie, Cthulhu will get it automatically on the first turn. Afterward, if there's a tie, whoever had it the last turn can decide who will get it the next turn out of the people who made the tie. Then you have the Doom phase. Now what you do on the Doom phase is you're going to move a pawn along the Doom track a number of spaces equal to the number of gates you control. So if you have 1 gate, you just move 1 space, 2 gates, 2 spaces, etc., etc. The Doom track is kind of like victory points, but as soon as one person gets to 30, it triggers an end game. And who is ever the first to get to 30 may not be the winner. More on that later. Now, also during the Doom phase, you can attempt to do a Ritual of Annihilation. That increases the power of the gates you have for Doom track purposes. You essentially get another scoring on the Doom track. Also, it will allow you to draw an Elder Sign token. Again, more on that later. Next, you're going to enter the action round. And on your turn, you can take 1 action. But, for instance, if you take a move action, you can move any number of units across the board at a cost of 1 power each, but you can just take the move action. Or you could take a battle action if you're in the same space as another player. Now, players can share spaces and not necessarily battle, but if you are there and you do want to battle, it will cost 1 power to initiate the battle. It costs 3 power to build a gate, and only cultists can build gates. There might be some exceptions with some of the powers, but generally only cultists can build gates. You have to have at least 1 cultist on a gate to control it. You can also recruit cultists for a cost. If you have a monster who's in the same space as an enemy cultist, you can capture that cultist, and then during the gather power phase, if you give the cultist back, you get an additional power. You can also summon various other monsters as well that are powerful in their own ways. But perhaps one of the most important things you can do with your power is summon that Elder God. Summon Cthulhu or one of these other monsters, which are very powerful in the game. They have very, very, very powerful advantages. They have special exceptions that they can use to the base rules. So you want these guys on the board as soon as you can bring them, because they're kind of game changers. And there's almost kind of an arms race with regards to these monsters you're bringing on the board. Now, in order to win the game, even if you get to 30, you will be ineligible to win unless you complete 6 very specific objectives. You're trying to collect spell books. Each player has different spell books depending on the monster that he's playing, and these spell books require you to meet certain objectives. So you're trying to play the game and reach your objectives, and some of these are very different. For instance, Cthulhu's objectives might involve him devouring opponents during battle, which is one of his special moves, or controlling gates in ocean territories. Hastur, for instance, he has to go around the board desecrating certain symbols for his actions. So there's different things you do in order to gain those spell books, but you need all 6 spell books if you want to win. Now, of course, the goal of the game is to gain those doom points, and you gain those doom points through control of gates, which means sooner or later you're going to be running up against some of these other monsters, and you're going to have to fight for control of these gates.
You won't attack me?
I have not ever been planning on attacking you this whole time. I'm not attacking anyone.
Now, what's going to happen is, on your individual faction card, it tells you how many points each unit you have is worth, how many the monsters and your great old one is worth. Cultists generally don't roll any attack die, but they can still be useful to take casualties.
You seem kind of attacky.
Because I was trying to destroy your spot, that's all. I just wanted to desecrate it.
Well, I can understand that.
So what you do is you roll a number of dice based on how much power you have collectively with your forces. For every 6 you roll, you kill an enemy unit that the enemy gets to choose, and for every 4 or a 5, you force the enemy to retreat. A 1, 2, or 3 does nothing in battle. But there are also some monsters and some spells that give you certain pre-battle conditions and post-battle conditions that can really be game changers in combat that you got to watch out for.
Don't you even do it. Don't you do it.
Because of these things, the game plays pretty asymmetrically, and you need to get to that doom point total of 30. Now, as you do some of these actions, as you utilize some of your spells, you get to draw more of these Elder Sign tokens. Now, why these are important is because you don't know what is on the bottom of them. You just have to grab them randomly, and then you can look at the bottom. And the bottom is going to contain a number, a 1, 2, or 3. These are kind of secret doom points that you are collecting. So that at the end of the game, as soon as somebody hits 30, if you've got more doom point totals and Elder Signs than they do, you can still win the game. And unless it's, unless you got a runaway leader, it's going to be pretty tight all the way up to the end.
You do that.
I can't reach him.
You will.
He's 2 spaces away from me.
You will reach him.
I can't reach him.
So that is just the most basic bare overview of rules for Cthulhu Wars. And the very first thing you must address when talking about this game is production. This is one of the most beautifully produced games I have ever played. The board looks great, faction cards look great, tokens are good, but really it's all about the minis. The miniatures in this game are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. They are big. They are beautiful. This is plastic in all its glory. These things are just so amazingly beautiful. And they're fun to play with, You're moving these things around the board, and it's fun. It's not like some of those little games with minis where you just, you feel like you got big claw-like hands trying to manipulate them. You pick something up here and you move it. I mean, they're fun to play with. Just component-wise, this is a fantastic game. As far as the gameplay goes itself, this is actually a fairly simple game. There are not a lot of new mechanics or new innovations here. It plays like a pretty simple, light war game. And if you've seen my top 10 list, I really enjoy light war games with fun themes and fun things you can do. And this does that. It does it quite well. It gives that experience. But if you're looking for something new and innovative, it ain't here. Look elsewhere. But when I played this game with my friends, we sat down and we played it, what we found is the simplicity of the game was really a plus here. We didn't feel like we were missing anything. We played one game in like an hour. I think our first game was maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, and we played the next game in an hour. We're so into it, we're so going, and it was so much fun, and we really enjoyed it. We really, really got a kick out of how the gameplay worked here, and how quick it was, how fun it was, how intuitive it is.
Not kill me, kill him.
One of the people I played with, my friend Holly, she's not a big fan of war games. They're just not her thing, which is fine, but she loves Cthulhu games. She loves, Eldritch Horror, Arkham Horror, these kinds of games. And so she wanted to play this, and as we were playing this game, she fell in love with it. She was having so much fun with it. So this was a game that even people who are not huge fans of war games, even light war games, can really get into, because they're just so much fun to play with, and it's a very engaging game.
You move in. Just don't forget that you have the freedom to choose, but you don't have the freedom to choose your consequences.
So I really, really enjoyed play here. I thought not only are the components great, I thought gameplay was great. This is a fun game. Fun to play with and fun to experience. I really, really, really like Cthulhu Wars. Is it too early to say best game of 2015? I'll wait on that, but I'm keeping that in the back of my mind for the end of the year, because I really like this game. This game is super, super fun. But the game has an MSRP of $200. $200. So let me put this into perspective you might understand. So let's say you go out to eat with your friends, and the check comes and it's $200. And you maybe get up to go to the washroom for a moment, you come back, all your friends are gone, but the check is still there. You would have to pay $200. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So the question is Cthulhu Wars worth it? Is it worth $200? $200 is a lot of money, and you could probably buy a few other games for that amount of money. But I really like this game. I really enjoyed this game. Now, the good folks at Green Eyed Games sent me a copy to review. Now, had they not done that, had I played a friend's copy or borrowed a copy from the local game store, I'd be tempted. I would be sorely tempted to shell out $200 for this game. Thank goodness I don't have to make that decision, but you probably do. Because of that price tag, I'm not comfortable giving this game a straight-up buy-it recommendation. Because $200, as I say, is a lot of money. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say try it before you buy it. Really go out, seek out this game, find it somewhere, and play it. And then you decide if it's worth it for you. I don't feel qualified to make that recommendation for you. So I'm going to say try it before you buy it, but please know that is as positive end of the spectrum of that rating as I can give. And really the only thing that's preventing me from saying buy it is that price tag. And of course when the expansions come out, which I'm probably going to have to pick up, they're not going to be inexpensive either. But man, they look cool. I love Cthulhu Wars.
He fought Kronos, the mighty titan, in a battle most exciting. Made a trident for Poseidon and helped make Zeus his bolts of lightning.
Thank you once again for joining us today here on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And the sun'll come out, Cthulhu, so you better hang on till Cthulhu.
yes he did. So you better never, ever, ever mess with a Cyclops kid. 1, 2, 3, 4!
Coward.